Welcome back, moviegoers. It's American movie freak Tracy here for another movie review. Today we're going to talk about a film called His Only Son. This is a Christian-based film. It's based off the life of the prophet Abraham, which you can find in the Old Testament of the Bible in the book of Genesis. The story follows Abraham as he's commanded by the Lord to take his son to Mount Moriah, which is a journey of 3 days away from where they currently are. While traveling on this journey, Abraham has a series of flashbacks depicting his life and the struggles that he had with his wife, Sarah, who was unable to bear a son for many years, and when they were finally blessed with one in their old age, now he's commanded by the Lord to sacrifice his only son. The film is rated PG-13 due to some thematic content and some violence. The runtime for the film is 1 hour and 46 minutes. In the beginning of the film, we get a short message from the director David Helling. He explains the history of the film and that it's been more than a decade in the making, and also that the budget was very modest. It was about $250,000. But another wonderful thing, Heller explains that this is the first ever fully funded major motion picture by the moviegoers who wanted to see this film. So that is in and of itself a historic achievement by Heller and the rest of his movie crew. The film stars Nicholas Mawad as Abraham, Sarah Sayed as his wife Sarah, and Edan Mauskowitz as their son Isaac. My wife said it best, that the film is a good way for Christians to see this story on the big screen, but also for those people who may not be religious or even know anything about Christianity can kind of understand and see why Abraham had to do what he did. It's a good way to kind of explain that story and what its purpose was. It's certainly a difficult concept to grasp, but Helling, as the writer, director, executive producer, film editor, and he also says in his opening introduction that he did some of the costume sewing himself, which I think is pretty incredible. Because he's working with a modest budget. But it's a difficult concept to bring to life the story of Abraham, and Helling did a good job of that. One of the things I would be a little critical of is, and maybe this was intentional, because there's nothing in the film to make it visually appealing. It's pretty bland and drab, and maybe that was intentional, as I said, I don't know. It makes it a little bit hard to follow the story. What really brings the film to life is the emotion of the film and the story itself. In fact, I'd say Sarah Sayed is probably the best actor in the film. She does a marvelous job with the emotion of her role. Her character, Sarah, the wife of Abraham, struggles a lot with why things are the way they are, and she shows that wonderfully. I also feel that Edan Mauskowitz brings Isaac's character to life. It's pretty amazing how he depicts Isaac the way that you read him in the account in Genesis. My biggest criticism of the film is the lead character, Nicholas Mawad, who pretty much in the entire film seems very stoic and not a lot of emotion, with the exception of the ascension of Mount Moriah at the very end of the film. That's probably where he acts the best, and you can see the emotion on his face and feel it. The other thing that really brings the story to life is the music. The musical score in this film was done by Jordan Wallace. So we have a faith-based film with decent acting. I wish the lead character maybe would have been done a little bit better, but the culminating moment when he's ready to do the sacrifice of his son, I think he does a better job of showing that as an actor. Overall, I think the film was pretty good, and as a Christian myself, I enjoyed the telling of this difficult story. It's not, it couldn't have been an easy task for Helling and crew to get this story out on the screen for the rest of us to see. But it's a very moving story, and I'm glad that he spent all this time getting it right and getting it out for us to see. Wrapping things up, I give this film a 7.5 out of 10. I do recommend you see it, and I think that you can at least get a look into why Abraham did what he did and why Christians believe the way they do. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you would like to leave a comment below, I'd appreciate that. Or you can send me an email at americanmoviefreaks@protonmail.com. Feel free to give me any suggestions, comments, criticisms, or just send me a message to say hi. I'll respond to your email if you do. Sincerely, thank you for taking the time out to watch this. Have a wonderful Easter. And as always, I hope to see you at the show.